Good morning, Sheila. How are you today?
Good morning, Wayne. I'm super. How are you today?
I am doing well, thank you. But I'm a little bit nervous because we're starting
Okay,
this new format here. Um, and I hope it works right.
we'll find out.
Yes, we will. And welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we explore the fascinating world of verbs and their impact on our daily lives. Join us each week as we delve into the different ways verbs shape our language and influence what we do, as we attempt to make a positive difference in our world, one verb at a time. And
Yes.
Sheila, what is our verb for today?
Our verb is a universal human gesture used across cultures and languages. Its original meaning was to murmur or speak quietly. It is to whisper.
Ah, to whisper. Ha
Yes.
ha. Wow. And before we get into definitions, how can our listeners contact you with questions and comments?
Thank you for asking. We welcome both. My email address is zekeandsheila@yahoo.com.
And I can be reached at Wayne at mindsyncing.com. That's MindSyncing.com. Wayne at mindsyncing.com.
Great.
Yes. And Sheila, do you have any definitions for us today?
I have one. I'm sure it'll match one of your many.
Okay.
It is to speak very softly, using one's breath without one's vocal cords for the sake of privacy.
Ooh. Now, if we can only keep our lips together, then we can be ventriloquists too, right?
I never thought of that, but I think I'm going to start trying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And I do have some other definitions.
Okay, let's hear them.
To speak very quietly using the
Hmm.
breath but not the voice, as you just said,
Hmm.
so that the person close to you can hear you.
Hmm.
To suggest privately that something might be true. To
Hmm.
speak softly with little or no vibration of the vocal cords, haha, what you
Hmm.
exactly said, especially to avoid being overheard.
Okay.
Here's another one. To address in a whisper,
Hmm.
to utter or communicate or as if in a whisper.
Hmm.
And my last one, to make a series of little noises. Now,
Okay.
I have to say this. I've got to say this.
Okay.
Here comes a joke.
Okay.
Because the one definition that says to speak very softly with little or no vibration of the vocal cords, especially to avoid being overheard,
Hmm.
there's this couple in a movie theater and they were sitting there ready for this enjoyable show and the lights dimmed, they had their popcorn, they had their drinks, they're ready to watch, and the movie starts, and some very very exciting and very crucial moments in the show, there was a person in front of them who was on a cell phone
Oh, no.
talking on the cell phone. Oh my god.
Grr.
One, the lights are on, it's blinding everybody, and two, they're talking. And and the woman leans over and taps on the shoulder of the person talking on the cell phone and says, "I'm sorry, I can't hear." And the woman turns around and says to her, "Well, that's the point of it. This is a private conversation."
Oh, dear. I think who here hasn't had an experience like that in the movie theater?
Oh man, I know I have.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep. All right. Hey, so whisper.
Yes.
What was your initial thought when we pulled whisper out of the hat?
Well, I was trying to figure out where I use whispering in my life, and I whispered a Fred in church or
Oh,
at a choral concert or something like that. And I instead of yelling at my dog, I whisper to him so that he closer attention.
does it work?
It seems to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. And I was excited about the
Okay.
verb.
All right.
And here's the reason why.
Okay.
Initially, and this is for a nanosecond.
Okay.
It presented a vision of something not universally used.
Oh,
And then I thought about it, and as I said it was a nanosecond. Then I thought about it and quickly determined that I was not correct in my thinking
right.
because many people use it for different reasons.
Right.
And I've seen it used and heard it used, and I have used it in many shapes, sizes, and forms.
Oh, good.
And so what I did is obviously I went and started doing my research,
Hmm.
and I found all these articles on how to use Whisper. And I go, oh, good, this is good.
Uh-huh.
And Whisper's an app. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, what a
Eh,
disappointment.
oh, yeah, what?
Maybe, unless it's a great app. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but I didn't know it was an app. And what is this? What is it? I'm reading this. I said, this isn't Whisper. This is an app called Whisper. But I did find some articles that were
Okay.
very, very cool.
Okay.
And then I found a lot of the articles that I was reading, many of them were looking at Whisper as a negative. Did you find that?
Well, I went down one main path, and there is an element of that, which I will explain later.
Okay. Cool. We might have some same kinds of
Yeah.
things
I
today.
I figured we had to with this one. Yeah.
Yes. And then at the end, I because I found all of these articles that talked about Whisper in a not so nice kind of a way,
Okay.
I said, well, there's got to be some positives. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I couldn't find any. And I said, well, if I was going to write an article on the
Ah,
positives, what would they be? And so I have left those to the end of the show, if you don't mind.
okay. Not at all.
And that's an opinion of course. There's nothing, there's no
Sure.
empirical data that says or proves me right or wrong.
But this might be the inspiration we need to start that kind of research.
It might be, yes. So, and since chivalry is not beyond us, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm going to start with a couple quotes.
Oh, excellent. We like quotes.
Okay. Mario Batali said, if you want your kids to listen to you, don't yell at them, whisper, make them lean in. My kids taught me that, and I do it with adults now.
Ah,
I don't know what
okay.
his profession is. Tommy Cooper said, my wife said, take me in your arms and whisper something soft and sweet. So I said, chocolate fudge. And Earl Wilson said, ever notice that the whisper of temptation can be heard louder than the loudest call to duty?
Mm,
And then finally, one of the most famous whispers in a movie, if you build it, he will come.
aha.
You know what movie that was from?
That was from the baseball movie, right?
Yes, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to start your topic now before I then jump into my one main topic?
No, go ahead. 'Cause I want to
Oh,
see if you and I have hit the same
okay.
research here.
ASMR.
Okay.
Did you research ASMR?
I did not.
Do you know what it is?
I do not.
All right. This ended up consuming all of my research time. So I'm going to start by saying that it's an acronym for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response.
Wow.
It refers to a spontaneous or automatic sensation that is triggered by some stimulus and crescendos to a peak, also known as sensation that feels good, also known as brain tingles or chill tingles.
Mm.
And it's a ting. So livesocial.com Skylar Ware in 2024 calls it a tingly or sparkly sensation that begins in the head. It can lower your heart rate and slow your breathing. So it was coined, the phrase ASMR was coined by Jennifer Allen in 2010, and she started all sorts of websites and stuff. ASMR was the most popular searched term in YouTube in 2024.
No
And there are
kidding.
tons and tons of videos on what are called whisper channels, etc. So it is showing up in commercials now too. Some people find it helps them relax and go to sleep. It's showing up in commercials. And but here, let me give a few more descriptions about the brain and ASMR. And I'm going to say some of your favorite words in here.
Okay.
So it shows signals in your in parts of your brain linked to reward and emotional response. They've even done a test with MRI to find what part of with MRI machines that find out what part of the brain is being triggered. Although, have you ever had an MRI?
I have not.
They're very, very loud. And so with the whispering sound, I realize I haven't described ASMR as a whispering sound. How can you hear? How can your brain hear the whisper over the sound of the MRI? But
Yes.
anyway, these are some of the types of sounds you hear in some of these videos. It's primarily whispering, tapping on a microphone, paper crackling, hair brushing, a pencil sound on paper.
Hmm.
What it does is it creates chills in people, and it stimulates back to the brain uh, a strong emotional response, and is found to be mood enhancing and relaxing. And here's the little bullet point with your favorite words. It may trigger the dopamine
Dopamine.
release, cytoxin, and endorphins, leading to feelings of sleepiness, comfort, and relaxation.
Excellent.
Yes. So
Yes.
let me let you go, and I'm going to come back to ASMR and talk about some of the other physical responses and where it's become especially popular.
Okay. And I researched an article that the one that I selected,
Yeah.
and it's by Isabel O'Gallagher, and she writes, "Why is whispering rude?"
Oh, good.
And I said, "Oh, this is going to be fun." And
Right.
so and here's what she starts off with. She says, "Whispering has a pretty bad rap, especially especially when done in the workplace or a school type setting. It sets people up for feeling left out and talked
Mhm.
about." And so
Yep.
she says, "Why is whispering rude?" The first one, she says, "It cuts people out of the conversation."
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, I see that." Number two, she says, "It leads to misread rumors or misheard rumors."
Mhm.
And I thought, yes, okay. That it's kind of like the phone game. Remember the phone game where you,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
yeah. The game of telephone. Yep.
yes. And so the next one she says is, "It makes others think you are talking about them." And I thought, yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah.
She says, "It shows you know things that others don't." Aha. Mr. Know It All, right? Or Miss Know It All.
Right. Right.
And here's one that she says, and I didn't really quite understand it, but she says it teaches kids bad habits. And here's what she said with that. When children see adults whispering, they believe it's a fun and exciting thing to do, so most kids follow suit and start whispering as well. While this She says, while this also isn't terribly bad, once kids get wind of a rumor or hear an adult talking about someone else, then you have a potential issue. And I thought, okay, now I can kind of see that.
Hmm. Hmm.
She has two more or three more, and
Okay.
I will stop there and I'll come back to you because I want to hear more about this ASMR.
Well, I'd love to tell you more about it. It's becoming more and more common in advertising. And their philosophy is that they're not only doing a visual stimulation of the brain and auditory stimulation of the brain, but with the ASMR techniques, they are having a physical sensation in the body, all of which would lead to more remembering or paying attention to that ad and
Mm.
remembering the product. So the first ad that was on television with ASMR techniques was in 2015, and it was a Dove chocolate ad. And I didn't pull that up. I don't know what the ad was, but what really brought it to the attention of advertisers was in 2019. You may remember this. There was a Super Bowl ad in the midst of all the loud noise and the crowds and in both the ads and the Super Bowl. If you were watching it on television, there was an unusual commercial with Zoe Kravitz, who was marketing Budweiser beer. She was in the wilderness. She was tapping the bottle, and the entire 1 minute commercial, she was whispering about the product. And it was, first of all, radically quiet, but secondly, it was totally ASMR, and it caught everybody in the advertising business's attention. Uh, uh, I'm going to tell you though. Well, first of all, there is a current commercial on television, at least in on the East Coast, for Aloha bars, a protein bar, where a woman is walking across bubble wrap and then laying on a couch covered with bubble wrap. Have you seen this one?
I have not.
The tag of the commercial is things that are deliciously satisfying.
Ooh.
And so look for it or listen for it rather, or look and listen for and experience it. So anyway, and as I mentioned before, people use it to relax themselves. They use it to get sleepy at night. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube channels about this whispering technique.
No kidding.
Yep, yep.
Excellent. I know
So
my son likes to pop the
yeah,
bubble wrap kind of
I
things.
think a lot of people like to pop the bubble wrap, and
Yes.
that's why these poppers are very popular. Again, you know, the little things where you're pushing the little bubble on the other side of the little toy, and you turn it over and push the bubbles back
Yes.
on the
Back
other.
on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side. Yes.
I have to
Yes.
confess that I use one of those in the car when someone else is driving, anyone else, not just certain someone else's.
Hopefully you're not using it while you're driving.
No, no, not while I'm
Okay.
driving. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying that. That is an important point. I'll talk
Yes.
about it a little more after you talk.
Okay. So Isabel, here's her last 3 points on why whispering is rude. She says
Okay.
it hides things from people.
Mhm.
And yes, it can do that. Now, I was a professor. I've been a presenter. I do keynote addresses still, and this is so true. This is so true because and I'm you've done presentations too, correct?
Mhm.
All right. So you're in front of a group of individuals, be large
Mhm.
group, small group, it doesn't really matter. But here's what she says: it's distracting to the person talking.
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
and it is because I'm thinking, oh, did I say something wrong? Did I say something that they think is not true?
Are they totally bored with my topic and they're starting their own?
Exactly, exactly. And with that, caveating with that, her last point is it's distracting. Yay. It is distracting.
Right.
And and as I said, I found a lot of articles that talked about all the negative reasons why we shouldn't whisper. And I said, okay, well, if I was going to write a positive whispering article,
Okay. Yeah.
what would it be? And so that's what I have next. I have, and I start off, I say, when is it okay to whisper? And how I introduce that is I said, what I have learned over the years about the
Uh,
uses of our voice and how the use of whisper has helped. It is both emotional and personal, and and I said in parents, when used for the positive, it is a very deeply rooted and embedded jolt of confidence. And,
mm,
and first and foremost, it has to be true. You cannot tell a story to the person.
mhm.
Tell them an untruth, a tale, fairy tale. It has
Okay.
to be true. And so I said, as an athlete, as a performer, as a follower, and as a leader, I have seen and used all of these at an appropriate time. And I say appropriate time
Oh,
is,
at an appropriate, not at inappropriate
oh no,
time.
at an appropriate
Oh,
time. Yes,
oh, oh,
yes.
good. Phew.
Thank you
Okay.
for saving me there. And and I say, and what's the appropriate time? The appropriate time is when you are one on one with someone,
Mhm.
or when you are one on one with a group, and that group is one. And when you are really trying to convey trust and respect and go get them to a person. And I've seen it used so many times. And I'll give you the first one, and then I'll come back to we'll come back to ASMR. It says, I have seen choir directors, production correct directors, people who producing plays on Broadway or
Mhm.
whatever, coaches and bosses alike use this one. When they're looking at the person who is one, either very, very unconfident that they can do this, when
Mhm.
they are very, very nervous about, oh, am I going to get this wrong? Am I going to do this right? And the coaches, the bosses, the directors, the production directors say, you have practiced this over and over. And here's what they say: you got this.
Mm.
You got this. You can do this. And what they're saying is, I believe in you. And it shows the person receiving those words a confidence level that has not that had not known or seen in them that they had not known or seen themselves. But this person is saying, you got this. And as you said earlier, when you're whispering to Zeke, you have their full attention. And all that noise that's going on
Yes.
around them, that
Right.
noise is negated by, you got this.
I have seen teachers Attract a classroom's attention by speaking more quietly.
I'm going to tell you, I do that too.
Okay.
And I do that in class. I do that in
Yeah.
presentations. I
Uh-huh.
had I think it was like I was in front of maybe 800 people once, a couple of times, not once,
Hmm.
a couple of times.
Hmm.
And I'm speaking, and all these other verbs that we talk about, they're shoutable verbs. Whisper is not a shoutable verb, but
No, it isn't.
when I'm doing the presentation and I know I have and I think, I'm not going to say I know, but I think I have the audience's attention. I've got them and they're listening and they're leaning forward. And you said that already. When I get down to the important part, I start to speak very softly, almost to a whisper, and you can see them literally leaning
Leaning in.
in to get those words. It is so
Right.
cool when that happens. And again, that's why I say you've got to be truthful when you're at that point.
Right.
You
Right.
cannot tell somebody an untruth,
Right.
because boy, you're gonna lose trust, respect, and everything after that.
Right.
Credibility's gone.
Yep.
Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's get back to you because I'm looking at the clock. It says 21.
Whoa.
So we got you. You have some more ASMR to do, right?
I do have a little bit.
Okay.
I want to mention a couple of the different, just to finish up the advertising bit, a couple of products that have used ASMR techniques in their either commercials or videos. Again, a lot of this is on YouTube. Uh, Heinz ketchup,
Ah.
IKEA Lindt chocolate,
Uh-huh.
lots of makeup products, Popeye's chicken.
Ooh.
And this one really surprised me. And I did watch the video for this because I couldn't believe it really was ASMR. Russian Defense Ministry in has done recruitment videos using what they describe as ASMR, but I find it was a little off. But even the thought that they would do that was so strange. So, but my last point on ASMR is I find it creepy.
Mm.
It makes me very uncomfortable. When I see those commercials, I get irritated. And I checked with Fred. Do you find this comforting? Do you get He does too. And so I had to research a little bit. I found an article in 2019 by in menshealth.com by Erica Sweeney said, I asked scientists why I can't stand ASMR videos. So I thought, okay. So there are 3 points or 4 points I want to make here. Number one, they said there are certain personality types in ASMR experiencers, and generally they're open to new experiences, a little bit neurotic,
Mm.
and a little bit anxious, a little
Okay.
bit or a lot. And people who don't like ASMR experiences or don't experience it that way are conscientious, more likely to be extroverts, and more likely to focus on agreeableness. So
Mm.
that's interesting. Point number two, another reason why people may not like it is, or get the agitation response, could be a sign of misophonia, which is irritation, ultra sensitivity to sounds, especially eating sounds and whispering sounds and chewing sounds, a strong negative emotional response, maybe a hypersensitivity, and that might even be a genetic issue. Number three, in the West, uh, sounds are fine, but in Eastern cultures, these are all considered. Actually, let me rephrase that. In the West, people are taught that these chewing, whispering, smacking lip sounds are rude manners.
Mm.
But if you're in Japan on the train, you definitely should be whispering and not talking louder. And the final point is there's no direct evidence to this, but some people with ADHD say they find it soothing to listen to ASMR noises or sounds.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, is this similar to those subliminal messages that we
No, this
learned
is
many years ago?
definitely the subliminal messages generally are quickly flashed
Yes.
pictures or
Or
words.
words?
In
Yes.
this one, you're actually aware that you're experiencing it, and that's part of the appeal of it to those who
Okay.
experience it.
All right.
Yeah.
So this
So,
so this is voluntarily you introduced
oh
this
yes.
voluntarily. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ah.
And just one final wrap up here. There is a suggestion now that ASMR can be an intervention tool for people who have anxiety. If they find that it gives them a very relaxed, calm feeling, slows their heart rate, which some people report that is the case for them. So anyway, there are opportunities for more information about this.
Mm. Okay. Well, I want you to know that ASMR and Misophobia is
Yes.
going on my new list of words that I did
Excellent.
not know. So I
Great.
when we are finished with the podcast, I'm going to say, okay, Sheila, how,
What were those words again?
what were those words again? Exactly.
Well, Elaine, let's get back to finishing your list.
Okay, yes, and finishing my list of an article, if I was to write
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes.
Now, to the whisperer, to the person who's being whispered to, I say, this is what they are being told by the person talking to them, whispering to them.
Okay.
I'm listening to you.
Ah.
I'm listening to your body reactions. I'm listening to your everything about you. I'm listening to your persona.
Hmm.
I'm listening. You have my attention, which
Mhm.
is different from listening. You have my trust. I believe in you, and you should believe that you can make this work. Shut out all that noise and think and concentrate because you've done this before hundreds of times, particularly if you've been practicing. You got this. It says, I believe in you. I'm searching for, and it says, I'm searching for the answers because I don't know it. Give me a second
Ah.
and I will pull it out of my hat here or find it on the internet.
Right.
When you whisper, others start listening. And that's kind
Mm.
of true because they want to
Yeah.
hear. Truth strengthens. And lastly, it's like giving away the secrets and the person receiving it because when people start to whisper, everyone's attention is drawn to that noise
Yeah.
and they are 100% attentive. And that's what I would write if I was going to write a positive article on whispering.
Ah. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm looking at the clock and we are at 27 right now. Ha ha.
Wow. Well, I want to say thank you, Wayne. This has been a very interesting topic, more so than I even thought. And thanks, folks, for listening. We hope you've heard something challenging or interesting today, and we welcome your feedback. But thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Sheila.
Thanks, Wayne.
See you next week.